Welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. If you'll join us with this Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing, we'll have the invocation tonight brought by Pastor Jim Jenkins, Chaplain Jim Jenkins from the VFW. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I don't need to quote you.
That's not what you're talking.
Let us pray. Dear gracious Lord, we just humble ourselves before you at this time. We just thank you for each and every one that's come out tonight. We thank you for the opportunity to discuss business issues and to make decisions, and may it be for the welfare of our community. We thank you for the United States of America and the freedoms that we enjoy and the ability to be able to elect our officials to be able to transact business in our behalf. So we commit this time into your hands, and I just ask your leading in the lives of each one here tonight. That it be honoring, and above all, things will be accomplished that would be to the welfare of all. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Jim.
And starting off this evening, we have two wonderful awards. The first of which, a presentation by AAA for the Platinum Traffic Safety Award.
Mayor Harrington and members of the City Council, my name is Bob Hamilton. And just before somebody asks, no, I am not the plumber, so let's get that out of the way. I'm a retired law enforcement officer myself for 33 years, so I know what your men and women go through on a daily basis. When most people are running away from trouble, law enforcement and you're firing everybody, they're running towards it. So those 33 years of mine, I spent 28 years of that in traffic safety. Matter of fact, I even taught some driver's ed class for Councilman Reeves over the years. But as a law enforcement liaison, there's 4 of us across the state of Kansas. And I say I have the best area of all 4 because I'm giving away 31 of the 42 AAA awards that we're giving away this year. I go from the Missouri line across Miami County all the way out to Saline and everything in the northeast corner. We work with AAA to find law enforcement agencies that we feel deserve this award, and then we encourage them to put in for the award. The award is provided, like the mayor said, by AAA Insurance. And this year, your police department is receiving the Platinum Award for the 2nd consecutive year. And this is the highest award that we can give. So congratulations to the men and women of your police department. Your police department is being recognized for a variety of activities that include participating in the monthly Operation Impact Area Traffic Safety Committee meetings and enforcement, having departmental policy requiring all employees wear seat belts. And this might sound funny to you when it's a state law, but we still have a lot of people out there that are not wearing our seat belts. And people say, well, that's my choice. Well, that affects all of us because it affects insurance and a lot of other things. Working closely with the Bonner Springs High School and Clark Middle School on the highly successful student-led Seat Belts Are For Everyone program, establishing a dedicated traffic unit to focus on enforcement for all traffic laws, the Click It or Ticket, which is coming up here 2 weeks before Memorial Day, the Drink You Drive You Lose campaign over Labor Day, DUI check lanes, and educating students through Project Graduation on the dangers of texting and driving in DUI. So at this time, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, you are to be congratulated for backing with the leadership to support your police department across the state. Your police department is only one of 38 that's receiving this award this year from AAA, so that's something to be proud of. So at this time, I'd like to present the Bonner Springs Police Department with the Platinum Award. I can't remember.
Say cheese matter.
Thank you. It's nice to be recognized for all their hard work. Keep up the good work. Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks, ladies. Moving on to our next award, we have the Kansas Local Technical Assistance Program presentation.
Well, good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here tonight, we are going to recognize one of your operations folks, Jimmy Denton. He's completed our Rhodes Scholar Program, and I'm not sure if you're aware of what the Rhodes Scholar Program is, but it's a professional development program that works in coordination with the American Public Works Association, FHWA, the Federal Highway Administration, KDOT, and the KU Transportation Center, and it provides, again, a training that we think is a very good training for all of our public works professionals. Not only our operations folks or our maintenance folks, but our technical staff, the engineering folks, those kind of things, along with management things. So the Rhodes Scholar Program is actually made up of 3 different levels. There's the technical level, which Jimmy has, he's mastered that and completed all the requirements for that. There's also a supervisory skill program which develops our people, our supervisors and those kind of things, gives them skills to be better supervisors. And then we have an executive skills program as well for enhanced management, county administrators, city engineers, public works officials, and things like that. So tonight, Jimmy was supposed to be here. I don't know if he got held up or maybe had some other thing come up, but he's completed this the Rhodes Scholar Program, Level 1, the Technical Skills Program. I'm presenting that on behalf of the LTAP, the Local Technical Assistance Program, and the American Public Works Association, and KU Transportation Center to Jimmy.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's great to have our people involved and so dedicated. So
and we appreciate your support of that, your support and Frank and his folks in every what happens. We
thank
appreciate
you.
it very much.
Thank you very much. And it would be great to have him come sometime. I know he's probably busy right now, but at any time it would be great to recognize him. I know, speaking for myself, I really appreciate that dedication to this. And please, if he's not able to, pass that along. Moving right along for the bulk of the remainder of the meeting tonight, our consent agenda. This opportunity for citizens to speak to the City Council about items not on tonight's agenda. Is there anyone here who would like to address the City Council? Seeing none, we'll move along to now the consent agenda. The consent agenda this evening includes the minutes from the January 27, 2020 City Council meeting, claims for city operation, claims for Public Housing Authority operation, and the 2020 drug and alcohol funding recommendations. Anything to be pulled by the citizens? Staff? Questions or clarifications for the council?
I just want to thank Tilly and Christina. Again, I came down with a question. Broken wrist, $50. It turns out that was a refund because the person who broke their wrist couldn't do the gym work. And Tilly just went right for it. I mean, she just knew, right? It was a weird thing that has shown up there, you know. So, thank you.
Nothing else? I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second. Moved and seconded. Pick either one of them.
Pick one's last name starts with an S.
I'll let you. Thanks.
Enjoy your walk home.
Rolling right along. Vote, please.
Thompson?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes?
Kip?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. On to old business. Since there is none, we'll move along to new business, the first of which, Public Works Center roof restoration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'm Matt Deeds, Deputy Director of Public Works. Tonight we're asking you to approve the contract with Schwerk Tecta America to repair the roof at the Public Works facility. This is out in the shop area. Over the years that I've been there, this roof has always leaked basically around. There's about 10 to 12 different skylights out there that leak. Part of this contract is actually to remove those skylights and then add and then basically some fillers in between all the ribs and put in a new membrane over the top of it, which should be, which not leak. The product is, I believe, warranty for 20 years. It's got a 2-year maintenance or 2-year warranty on the workmanship. So, try to answer your question.
What was the warranty, I'm sorry?
20 on the material.
Are you gonna keep the skylights? Are they gonna do that or just gonna?
They're gone.
Any other questions, concerns? Oh, I'm sorry. Anything else to add from the citizens? Questions? None? Anything else from the staff? None? I entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the contract agreement with Schwerk Tecta America LLC in the amount of $149,707 to make roof improvements to the Public Works facility.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments? We'll start over here. Sorry.
No.
Getting,
Thank you for the picture that showed the whole levels. It makes it so much easier.
I'm assuming since this came through purchasing alliance, that's why we only ended up entertaining one
It was competitive, yeah, it's competitively bid through the co-op.
through the alliance, and then that's who they pushed forward. And then, was it actually more cost effective to completely do this process rather than replace the roof as a whole?
Totally remove it, yeah.
Okay.
no other questions, concerns? Vote please.
Kip?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Gurley? Yes. Shannon?
Yes.
Motion passes.
We're good, thank you. On to agenda item number 2, league facility fees.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Council. Justine with Parks and Rec. Tonight before you, I have, it's a new fee that we're proposing for outdoor practice field rentals. And this would be a rental fee for those who want to rent our fields for more than 10 consecutive practices in a row. This would be a new fee for us. After doing some research for other area departments, what they offer, also competitive leagues, what they offer for their field rentals. We feel that $45 for Lions Park with lights and $25 for no lights would cover our costs as a city, but also somewhat affordable for our leagues who want to rent our fields. This came to us from a community member that brought it to our advisory board, and after much discussion, we figured we can work with them. So I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Anything from the citizens? Questions, concerns, comments? Other staff? Seeing none, I can entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the proposed fee schedule for multi-sports rentals.
Second.
Moved and seconded, and we'll start over here. Sir?
Not here.
Questions?
We haven't had a fee in the past. Now, if anybody's participating in the recreation leagues, you know, the children, will those teams have to also,
No,
so they'll be able to schedule fields without a fee?
that's correct.
Okay.
So with our practices, we give them 2 practices a week. They can use those or not use those. But those are at no cost. Those are built into our fees that we do, which also includes jerseys and things of that nature. This is more for the outside groups, for like your more competitive leagues that aren't playing with us, but they still need field space to practice on.
That explains a lot more to me. Appreciate that.
I'm impressed you got this put together in a week. Because we just had that meeting last Monday.
What she said.
Anything else? Sir?
Then she said, good job.
Yeah.
No other questions, concerns, comments? Vote please.
Gurley? Yes. Thompson?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Kip,
Yes.
motion passes.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Good luck.
Sounds like we might have our very first lead rental on the hook.
On to item number 3, the Government Services Center change order number 6 and 7. Staff?
Nobody's-
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good evening,
Good afternoon.
afternoon. Before you have 3 change order requests from KBS. They're detailed throughout as well as the typical attachments, but really quickly, change order 27 is roof drains to be installed around the elevator of the new addition going on to City Hall. This was a scope of work that was omitted from the construction drawings, so it has been now added back to the project. We also have change order 28. This is the tie-in down to the downspouts, so this allows the roof of the community center to actually drain to a underground piping as opposed to just collecting at the street or the alleyway, what have you, between the 2 buildings. And then also change order 30. This is a variety, generally around the police side, but also around the community center with some tie-ins of the sanitary sewer system, as well as some elevation conditions that have become apparent that need to be worked on. Again, with this approval, you'll be approving change order number 6 and number 7. Happy to answer any questions.
Very good, thank you. Anything else to be added, questions, concerns, comments from the citizens? Seeing none, other staff? I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve change order request number 27, 28, and 30, and authorize change order number 6 for the amount of $28,969.05, and change order number 7 for the amount of $72,413.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments from this council? We'll start right here.
This feels like a really stupid question, but we're approving change order 6 and 7, but the change orders that were submitted were 27, 28, 30.
Yeah, so the way that these are handled are the requests that are coming from the contractor. So those are numbered differently than the actual change orders that are approved. So another way of thinking about it is the volume of just questions that are asked or formalized as change order requests. And then ultimately, if there is an actual change order to the contract that we have with KBS, and that is formalized through a change order. It's confusing, but ultimately the change order is what, for all intents and purposes, is where money is changing hands.
Is there any rhyme or reason as to why they're lumped together?
The some of that is due to how the financing is structured.
Oh.
So we have 3 different types of buckets, and that's predominantly driven by the need to separate out historic tax credits. That's the reason.
Okay, thank you.
Why was it omitted originally?
Great
That's
question.
saying somebody forgot it.
Drainage is pretty new.
Yeah, this is a conversation that I've had with the SFS, and then ultimately the engineers. I believe it was Henderson, were the ones that were ultimately responsible, if you will, for omitting that. But it was something that was missed. Yep.
And on the downspouts, they were just gonna dump into the street, and is that fairly standard practice?
It can be. Again, this is a cost that right now they are being fed to underground drains, so that is the existing condition. The idea was to tie them back in. Now the idea is with this change order request to do what we have been doing in the past. Best practice would be that we're just trying to avoid any situation where we have drainage out into that alleyway because of pedestrian traffic that's going there predominantly, any type of senior center traffic that uses that doorway.
So the storm drains or the roof drains off of the 1918 building used to go underground?
This is for the community center piece. So
Okay,
this,
so the community center didn't used to go underground, did it?
it did.
It did?
Yeah, so there was actually 4 downspouts that have since been rerouted. So if you look on the community center right now, there's a significant amount of PVC piping that is wrapping around.
Gotcha.
So again, the idea would be to take that all underground and then ultimately dump into the street so it can go into the storm sewer.
Taking the PVC pipe off and replacing it so it looks nicer? Or?
Oh, yeah, so that, yes.
It's a temporary.
And that's
Artwork.
something that we've been looking at, if you recall. We talked about some of the improvements that have come to light as part of, just the need to improve the community center, one of which is the gutters and the downspouts. So this is part of that effort ultimately will be to reduce the number of downspouts that we have going from 4 to 2 on the southern portion here. So it's all a lot of moving pieces.
Nothing.
I would say the excess water, if it was dumped on on that alleyway, it would deteriorate the surface. Blacktop is such a lot quicker, will it not?
Absolutely, yeah, and you see that on the east side of the community center where that is just draining into the earth, and that has eroded quite significantly.
Sure. Yeah, on number 27, that's on the old 1918 building, right?
This is actually coming down from the 1918 building, and then it's actually the addition, the elevator and the stairwell is predominantly where this drainage area, these roof drains are being installed.
And I was not understanding that. I'm just asking here because I know from some building experience that, if I made a mistake, it ends up costing me money.
And yeah, and that's part of this is probably more of a mistake from the design standpoint, not so much on the contractor. So the contractor bid this without it being in place. We want to have this in. So it's somewhat boo-hiss for the design standpoint, but again, this is something that would it have been included in the design, we would have been paying for it anyway. Maybe a different price, but.
You're forgiven.
Thank you. Feed me up too much,
Ma'am?
Thank you for the graphs and the things and the pictures, because I see so much more with those.
Yes, and that, to Ms. Gurley's point, I think we're on about each individual request for more information. That's how that is being received, is one of those very detailed, so that's what the the architects are reviewing. It's a great help for me and for you guys, so appreciate that.
Nothing more. Very good. No other questions, concerns, comments? Vote, please.
Thompson?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Gurley?
But I did.
Yes. Stevens?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Very good. On to number 4, codification agreement. Yes, again.
Just great, city clerk. We codified the city code book in 2014. A lot has changed since then. We've made a lot of updates. Are we ready to recodify? We got 3 quotes. Ransom City Code, American Legal Publishing, and Municode. Municode could only provide us a general estimate. So of those 3 quotes, Ransom City Code, they all provided about the same service. Ransom City Code did it for significantly less, and also offers ongoing maintenance that we opted not to do last time. So that means that anytime we pass an ordinance, I can email it into them. They'll have the code book at the end of the year. We get printed updates from them, and it will all be accessible online for our residents or anybody else to see and go and look through and search through. So, answer any questions.
Very good, thank you. Anything else from the citizens? Questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, other staff? Yes, ma'am?
Hi, my name is Margaret Moore.
Uh-huh.
This is my first time at a city hall meeting, so I'm not quite sure how this works. When you say questions, is it concerning each issue brought up?
Yes, ma'am?
Okay, then I'm gonna sit down.
All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yep.
You might explain to at the beginning, we have the citizens' concerns.
We did have an opportunity at the beginning of the meeting for any item that's not on tonight's agenda for anyone to stand and address the city council. So that's that opportunity. Now each item has an opportunity for people to have their say in the matter.
Okay.
And then we're going to get after it here in just a minute with the council portions of it. And then we'll move on to the next item.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, thank you. Then I think it'll be best for me just to sit back and listen tonight, and then I'll come on time for the next meeting.
Anytime.
Thank you.
Nothing else? I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute an agreement with Ransom City Code for codification and annual updates of the code of the city of Bonner Springs.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments? Ms. Pierce?
I was amazed by the difference in the costs. I mean, and the one we're going with has wonderful, yeah.
Oh, no, sorry.
I'm assuming, does Ransom Code then, do they host the data, those books on their system?
They,
And then,
go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna say, and then we provide a link on our website to link to that
They
service.
host on their system, they also will provide it to us digitally. If we want to, we can put it directly on our website. I think probably we'll just put a link to theirs because theirs is continually updated.
And so it's all online, there's no hard copy, is that?
We will get hard copies as well.
Good? Good? All right, very good. No other questions, concerns? Vote, please.
Thompson?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Motion passes.
I wanted to do the exact same thing. Bob, I wanted to do the exact same thing. That's why I was. Very good. On to number 5, resolution number 2020-02, authorization of the sale of general obligation bonds. Yeah.
Mayor and council, Tilly LaPlante, Finance Director. Tonight, we're asking you to approve a resolution to authorize the sale of $7,930,000 of GO bonds and $1,730,000 of temporary notes to complete the financing for the Government Services Center. The $1,730,000 is a temporary note. I believe we'll do it for 12 months, and is that what we put in there? Or did we put a time?
It's callable in December of this
Okay.
year, but it's payable April 1st of 2021.
So that way, when we get the historic tax credits, those will be used to pay off the temporary notes. We have Adrian Serene and Tyler Ellsworth with Kudik Rock here. They're our bond advisors if you have any questions tonight. This is, again, the second final series of financing. We issued $5.4 million last year to start the process till we knew kind of what our more firm costs were. So this is the final piece to complete it. We did, David was going to be here tonight. He's not here yet, but I'll kind of, when we first talked to the council about the cost of the financing, we thought that the debt service and the levy would need to go to 13.3 mils, and with that,
Perfect time.
you knew I was struggling, didn't you? I'll let David kind of explain that. We talked about it this morning, just kind of on how, I was just talking about the
mill levy.
Oh, the
I just started.
the 20-year versus 25? Or,
No,
or just where the mill levy?
I haven't talked about that yet, just kind of the difference. When we first talked about it last year, we talked about needing a mill levy in the debt service of 13.3. And now I think we're at 11 instead.
Yeah.
Yay.
I'll let you.
Yeah.
Some good news.
Good evening, David Artberry. Yeah, as Tilly was mentioning, I think when the original projections were done for the tax impact of the City Hall and the police facility project, it was anticipated that the mill levy would need to go from about 4.8 mils in your bond and interest fund to about 13.3. And based on the latest numbers, we think that mill levy could probably just be at 11 mils and still finance all the projects. The reason it has come in so less is twofold. One is your assessed valuation has grown much more rapidly than was originally projected. And then secondly, the interest rate on the bonds is also considerably lower than what our original projections showed. And at that 11 mils, we've even assumed that this bond issue, instead of being repaid over 25 years like the first issue was, that we could actually accelerate the payment of this issue and have this issue only repaid over 20 years and still be at 11 mils. So yeah, I think that's good news, and obviously anytime you can pay off stuff shorter and a shorter period of time and come in less than what you projected in terms of tax impact, that's always good. In terms of interest cost, by shortening the bond issue from 25 years to just 20 years, you'll also save about $700,000 in interest costs over the life of the issue. Did you go over the sort of the step that they're at now, or is that on the agenda right now? Is that what the agenda is?
No, yeah, I didn't go over this.
Okay. As far as the action item tonight, in front of you, there's a resolution that we call a sale resolution or a go-to-market resolution. And that's simply a resolution that authorizes the city to go out and take bids for the bonds and the temporary notes that would be issued. So today's not the final step that you would need to take. That wouldn't occur until your meeting on March, was it 9th? Okay, March 9th. But this will be sort of the big step where we officially authorize the sale to occur. Between now and then, staff and us and QTAC Rock will be working to put the disclosure document together to get the bond rating done. We're having the rating call next Wednesday morning. And then after that, it's just a matter of then of gathering the bids and evaluating them, and then coming back to you with the results on the 9th of March. So.
Very good. Great, thank you. Appreciate it. Any other questions, concerns, comments from the citizens? Other staff? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve a resolution authorizing the public sale of approximately $7,930,000 principal amount of general obligation bonds, Series 2020-Alpha, and approximately $1,730,000 principal amount of general obligation temporary notes, Series 2020-1.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions, concerns, comments, and we're starting again. We'll start here. Very good.
The temporary notes, I think there's a lot of confidence that we will qualify for all of
Historic.
historic funds, tax credits. If we were to come short of those, how will we finance the remainder of that temporary notes paid off? Through contingency or?
Yeah, what we funded with the bonds was what our known costs were before these change orders that were approved tonight. So we have about $700,000 in contingencies that we thought we've got those there that if there's any change orders like the ones we did tonight. And then that also would help if there is a shortage on historic tax credits. If it, for some reason, went beyond that, which I don't think it will, we may have to, allocate some of our capital funds for 2021 to that.
So it could be some impact on general budget if.
Yeah,
historic tax
like I
credits do
said,
fall
we've
short.
got about 600,000 of cushion right now that's not allocated for anything for the project right now that's in our CIP funds.
And you would always have the ability, if you didn't want to dip into your CIP funds or other funds, to issue long-term bonds for whatever you didn't retire with other, or whichever of those notes you didn't retire with other monies.
Are the mills, 4 mills plus 11, or
Current,
total of 11?
the new mill levy would be about 1.7 more that we need to add to the 2021 budget, based on the right, David?
Right.
Projections right now we're at 9.3, I think, and it would need to go up to, 11.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was at 4.8 2 years ago when we were first talking about the project. And at that time, that's when we were saying we thought it would have to go up to 13.
I didn't know if it was 4 plus 11.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Last we heard it might be around 2 something, now we're down under 2 to 1.7 mils.
And that's it.
We're going in the right
And
direction.
that's less years to pay it back.
Right.
And that's also assuming a 3% interest rate and zero growth over the life of the debt as well. So those are all,
Yeah, very conservative. Seeing no other questions, concerns, comments, vote please.
Reeves?
Yes.
Thompson?
Yes.
Gurley? Yes?
Stevens?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Hess?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Motion passes. Mayor?
Do it's money.
Not a planning item for a
It's
show.
money, big money.
Sorry. If you want to tell me how you would vote.
Moving on to reports, the city manager's report.
just a reminder, there's a lot of community events going on. First and foremost, we try to keep an updated calendar on the city website. Parks and Rec does a great job of also updating their information for these types of community events. But again, just the 20th annual Marble Crazy event is coming up. We also have the Chamber Annual Banquet, fundraiser for the Police K-9 program, Jazz on the Lake for the library, and then lastly, the Bonner Springs Historical Preservation Society's annual dinner will be March 13th. I've included a flyer with that. They will be presenting information related to the Save Our Skyline program to current day plans for City Hall. As a reminder for folks, Save Our Skyline was an effort a few years ago, and by few, mid-90s, to start the effort of actually making or doing something purposeful with the 1918 building. Again, the city acquired it in about 1986 with the idea of making that into a city hall facility. I will also be attending, so if you want to listen to me babble outside of city council meetings, you can also hear me speak about that project. Also, I've included the budget calendar for the 2021 budget. This has been sent out to department heads and budget managers. This also includes a year in review for 2019. This will help, I think, set the tone for those conversations going into fiscal year 2021 by just reviewing department highlights, kind of high-level stuff, but again, hopefully is useful for the council and the public to attend. And then lastly, I just wanted to bring attention to another attachment, which is the field observation report. I will try to be including these as we continue through the police department facility and the City Hall facility, but these are the reports that take place that kind of go through the litany of things that the architects are reviewing. It also includes, for visual learners, pictures that you can kind of look back on and see exactly what's going on. Both, obviously, we can drive by and, excuse me, get an idea of our new bird that's in town right now, the crane, but also gets you an idea of what's inside the 1918 building. Again, you'll be able to see these progressions throughout, so I just, again, want to bring attention to that, and we'll try to include those. We have bi-weekly status updates when these are completed, so I'll have those in my city manager report until the conclusion of the project. That concludes my report.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the pictures.
Moving on to city council items, and I think it's turn to start over here.
Two things. I left this on your desk, in front of you. This is the Senior Citizen Newsletter, and I was at their meeting today with the advisory board, and one of the areas that they're planning on having is a senior citizen garage sale, and that will be slated for April 25th, and they will be using the gym upstairs for that. And they said if you bring it and it sells, good. If you bring it and it doesn't sell, take it home. So they don't want it. And they'll also find where they can also donate. They're also looking at holding a bingo opportunity, and this is in discussion right now. They haven't set a specific date for that. So, and that's about it.
Very good.
Had the Parks and Rec committee meeting last week, so I was excited that Justine was able to get that information together so quickly on that league request. Have received a ton of compliments on the disc golf course. Apparently it's generating a lot of enthusiasm from Lawrence and Johnson County. They're putting in tee boxes as soon as the weather holds. Thank you, I'm glad you're still here. And at some point, bathrooms will be going into North Park. That's still on me.
What point is it?
Some point. Hopefully this year. Hopefully this year. But it's still there, it's still happening. Has the mayor decided where the time capsule will go in the new construction?
No.
Have to think about that when they get finished with it.
In the storm drain.
Right?
Change
I think, yeah.
I'm gonna open this wall.
I think when we originally talked about it, it might be in someplace that's easier to get at and not compromising the structural integrity of any one building, and maybe in the sidewalk or the plaza area that we could recognize with a plaque or plate. So that's quite a long time ago that I talked about that, but so kind of.
Okay. Well, I know we talked during the tour about entombing a picture of the city council as it exists now as part of the 1918 reconstruction.
I'm glad you said
I still think that's something we should consider.
Very good.
Because photographs 100 years ago are so revealing. They really are. You know, it's wonderful.
I'm still stuck on the word entombing.
Yeah, I'm glad you added pictures.
Oh.
Hope everybody that's in Jazz and the Lake, love to see you out there if you can make it. Other than that, I have nothing.
I'm just going to thank you for the field observation report. We go by there all the time and we wonder what the progress is, what's happening inside. So it is helpful to get that on an ongoing basis. That's it.
I continue to hear from citizens about our new streets and how nice they are, and I like them too. However, on Metropolitan, there's going up the hill from on Metropolitan, going east. As you go up to that first hill, there's a hole there that's developing in the road, which is kind of in a bad place because the tendency there is for people to move over to the middle of the road, and that's not a good thing to be doing right on that hill. So I thought maybe that's something that ought to be checked into.
Between Lakewood and Nettleton?
Between Lakewood and Nettleton. Except when you go up there to the top of that first, if you're headed east, it's the top of that, we're always at the top of that first hill. And it levels out and it goes up again, it's the top of that first hill.
Okay.
That's it.
Great. And on to the mayor's report. I'll add on another pothole, but it may not be our pothole. As you go on to northbound K7 highway from K32, there's a pretty good dip there. It's the perpetual pothole that opens up there. But otherwise, it seems like the general, knock on wood, so far the crop of potholes that we have in Bonner Springs hasn't grown near like we would have expected. So thank you to all the hard work. Rolling along, yes, a lot of activities going on, events going on is an understatement. Jazz on the Lake, I too hope to see everyone there. Thank you. Anybody needs tickets, you can get those from the library, or you can do it online like I did by going to their website and going through donations and then pushing the donation button and putting in the number of tickets you need. So it's easy to do. Do it twice. Also, the Bonner Springs Troop 149 and 6149 is having a fundraiser. The annual pancake feed is next Saturday, February 15th. If you miss Valentine's Day, you can take your Valentine to have pancakes at the Bonner Springs United Methodist Church. I'm sure that will help smooth it all over. If you need it to be, I'm sure they can help you out for a small nominal price of $5 per head.
What's the timing of that?
From 7 to 12, 7 a.m. to noon. So I guess you could call them lunch too. Lunch pancakes. The Historic Preservation Society dinner's on the 13th, and I'm excited to hear that Sean's one of the presentations, so that'll be fun to hear. And the K-9 fundraiser, Bonner Springs Police K-9 fundraiser at Woodend Springs. Hopefully everyone can support that, and as well as encourage others to come and support it. The Chamber of Commerce annual banquet this year is at the Fuel House again with Casey Wolf will be the speaker. He's a motivational speaker, and since they won a football game here recently, that might be really nice to go to. And then Marble Crazy is getting fired up. If you need any information, please check Moon Marble. The seniors, you made mention, one of the things I wanted to advertise was the tax resources that they have for people through the seniors department. And so you can write on your little informational brochure if you need assistance. You can call Gloria at the senior center with any questions. Free tax preparation from AARP beginning in February until April. So there's no appointments, walk-ins only. This last week I was happy to host the Wyandotte Johnson County Mayors Association dinner here in Bonner, and had an opportunity to explain a lot of the things that are coming up in Bonner Springs. We also heard from the League of Kansas Municipalities, Eric Sartorius, on a lot of different issues or bills that are going through the legislature right now. They're working on a lot of different things, everything from the local ad valorem tax reduction fund, from transfers to it, to also changing the annual valuation of property tax, or valuation for property for ad valorem property tax purposes, to a triennial valuation. There's lots of different things that they're trying to consider for the tax lid, as well as a different style of property tax process. Other than that, if you have any questions, I have a little bit of information here. Other than that, I stand for questions.
Mr. Mayor,
Please.
if I may, there is something that I did neglect to bring up, and this was brought forth at the meeting. I've already discussed this with Sean. One of the advisory board members mentioned that she was at a meeting or was around people and stuff, and the question came up about the senior citizen, closing. And I asked her, I said, well, who told you that? And she said, well, put her hands over her mouth and said, I can't tell you. And I said, well, be sure to tell them that they lied to you, because this is not anything that has even been discussed. It's not something that's going to happen and stuff. And as I said, discussed it with Sean, and thinking about with Sean and Amber and Betsy devising a letter that could be posted there at the senior center. I'll also make sure that information gets into their newsletter next time, and that this is not something that is happening, was never discussed, never brought up, never even thought of. So
I've had someone mention it to me as well.
yeah, and this is one of the things that a lot of our seniors are facing, where things are being said, and they tend to believe the person saying it more than what is actually true, and then they don't ask and stuff, and it is a concern with them. So the reason I'm bringing it up is that if any of you hear from anybody saying anything at all, one of the questions, and this came from Mike, is like, who told you? And a lot of times it stops right there, but in case anybody does say anything, and I wanted that for all of you to be aware of it, because it's, as I reinforced them and told them, I said, absolutely not.
We have such a hard time with dissemination of the correct information, and it seems as though oftentimes rumor or misinformation gets spread very easily. I remember the last time that specific topic came up was around the time period where we were moving city hall functions up here to the community center, and they were everyone was all abuzz of what we were going to be able to continue to provide and all that, and I think we alleviated a lot of those fears then, and we've been able to maintain all of our services, both city hall functions as well as community center functions through the Plan B. But yeah, that's and we've had to shut down one of the entrances. Well, that was a closure, but we maintained access through a brand new stairway lift and a front access. So it's a work in progress, and I'm sure that those are all reasons that people can see concerns, and when they have not 100% accurate information, it gets the whisper game gets started, and one thing leads to another. But like you said, we're very committed to maintaining all the current level of services that the city's provided and will continue to provide. So
what was, I think the thing that I felt so bad about was the fact that it's how it was affecting our seniors, and how it's affecting not only our staff and our city and stuff, and it's just not something that needs to be, propagated at all. So I just wanted for all of you to be aware. So.
Very good. Yes, and if they have any concerns, they can ask any of us or the city staff, or there's all the different ways we get that information out. Did you have? Oh, yes, I thought you were.
No, I've been asked this question twice, and I keep forgetting to ask. What jurisdiction does our local police department have on I-70? The person that's asked me has said, I've seen Bonner police with cars pulled over on I-70 between 7th Highway and 110th Street specifically.
Yeah, any street that runs through the city, it has jurisdiction over that area as it goes through Bonner Springs, similar to K7.
Okay. Do we actively patrol I-70, or is it usually?
I don't know if I would say we
stop
actively pursue it necessarily. It's part of our, routine, if you will. But again, we have a limited number of police officers, and we try to keep them generally within the city of Bonner Springs, so.
Okay, thank you.
I would think another thing might be when the car stops.
Right, I knew that was part of it.
That's
Yeah,
where I was going.
that's what I assumed, but I wanted to clarify, so.
Sometimes they don't always stop right where you want them to.
Not at all.
Yeah. But I know the city of Bonner Springs has been very proactive in traffic stops on the highway that have been integral in both drug and trafficking, all kinds of things. So it's a constant effort, and they do excellent work, and sometimes it takes them being on I-70 and all over. Other questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, we're adjourned.